Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I am super excited today because today we have a very special guest, Mr. Ivan Fernandez. And if you don't know Ivan, the way I presented him on my social media is that Ivan is the IT man. This guy knows technology. He builds AI processes for multi-million dollar companies that many of you guys are familiar with. But today we're really going to dive down on how to have AI work for you, become your best friend at work, and simplify your process. So, super excited. And just a quick reminder, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to drop them in. If you're watching from YouTube, there's a comment section. And if you are watching from LinkedIn, you're also able to drop down questions. We will be popping your questions up. And we already have a good morning from Maria Rivera FZD. Good morning to you. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I'll let Mr. Ivan present himself for those who may not know him.
Thank you, Rocio. What an amazing introduction. So first of all, good morning as well. And thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure when we can collaborate on something that I'm also very passionate about. But what I want to just say about myself, I've been in the IT industry for 24 years, started a company right out of high school providing IT services. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to support companies nationwide with their IT solutions, cybersecurity solutions. And now we've been doing a lot of different AI implementation and helping companies adopt AI. So with that, I wanted just to dive right into it, and let me share my screen, and we'll talk a little about AI. So let me get to it. All right, let's see. Entire screen, share. All right, let me know if you can see my entire screen. Can you see my screen, Rocio?
It's not showing up on the thing, but let me see what is going on over here.
Oh,
there you go. I see it now.
Awesome, beautiful. All right, so what this conversation is going to be about, and I do want to make it conversational. So if you guys have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I can't see what's going on in the chat, so Rocio is going to help bring those to my attention. But it's really looking at how to go beyond the chat with AI. And every time that I ask clients how they're using AI, it's a lot of yeah, we're using AI already, but it's really the way that they're using it is what we call generative AI, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But it's a concept of using AI to ask it a question, get a response, copy and paste that information. I know that when I first started using AI, like about 2-3 years ago, it was the coolest thing, right? Like you can ask it to create a poem, write a song for you, write a letter for you, and as soon as you got past that, you started to see the business case for it, which was about a translate a letter for me, or write an email for me, or help me rewrite certain things. But that's kind of where a lot of people are still stuck on, and what I call the chatbot trap, where 88% of organizations are still really using AI as more of an advanced Google, where you type a question, you get an answer, then you copy and paste that into maybe a presentation or a report. Or maybe you're analyzing a report and you copy and paste the report into ChatGPT, into Gemini, and you ask questions about it. And although that's amazing and that's a great use of AI, what we're seeing now is where we arrived at a location where we call it agentic AI, or using AI agents. And that's the whole concept of how do we get the AI to do the work for us and no longer have to copy and paste between screens. Towards the end of this demo or this presentation, I'm going to hopefully have time to do a live demo so I can share a little bit of that concept. But really the goal here is to kind of understand that if you're using AI just to prompt it, ask a question, get an answer, or for reasoning or for critical thinking or for planning, that's great. And some organizations aren't even doing that yet. But the goal is, how can I get AI to do the work for me? So I don't have to really copy and paste the information. How can I get it to build a spreadsheet for me, build me a financial model? How do I get it to build me an application so I can reconcile my billing? And that's what I'm here to talk about. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll see different ways that you can use AI in the workplace or in your life. So generative AI, again, you're prompting AI with a good question, you're getting an answer, and then you're copying and pasting that somewhere. And what we're transitioning to is agentic AI, which is, how do we get the AIs to work with each other, or how do we get an AI to do the work? So for example, if you were building an application, or let's keep something simple, like let's say you were working on a financial model in your business, you can leverage multiple AI agents to help you basically create that in Excel, and where the AI agents are collaborating with each other. Or another good example would be, let's say that you wanted to make some sort of marketing content. And we all know that we can go into ChatGPT and ask it to compose a LinkedIn post for me. Now, that post may not sound like you, and you may have a unique way to get it to sound like you wrote it. But what you could do if you're using AI agents is you could have one AI agent create the LinkedIn post, and then you can have a second AI agent that understands your brand voice, be like your marketing manager, and review the context that the first AI agent created, and then provide feedback like, hey, this doesn't align with our brand guide. Send it back to the first AI agent to basically rewrite it, send it back to your AI agent that knows your brand of your company. And basically, until they both come into agreement that this is actually good content, only then does it surface and it shows up in your inbox. And that's the whole concept of using AI agents to do multi-step workflows in your business. So as I kind of move forward here, I'm a big visual person. And so I know this might seem like there's a lot on the screen, but I'm going to do my best to simplify this for all of you. The first role, which is where you see the LLM window, that is really what most users are using generative AI for, which is, you're the user, you have a good prompt that you type in. That AI may have different rules on how it can respond, right? Like if you're trying to do something that may pose a risk to the computer, it might not give you the answer that you want. But basically, there's a large language model in the back end, whether it's OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, that basically has been trained to give you an output, a response. So again, this is the user, you prompt it, there's a trained model behind the scenes that has all the answers, and you get an output. It's very similar to using a search engine like Google. And as soon as this came out, people were like, well, this is amazing, but how can I get the AI to understand a little bit about my business, right? So when I prompted about something that only my company would know, how can I have the AI or have that AI conversation experience? And so that's where the industry basically came up with RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, I believe. And that's the whole concept of you basically feeding the AI model additional information about your finances, about your billing system, about your Google Analytics, for example. And so what ends up happening is you then have multiple sources of data. One would be the information that you're feeding it into, and then what the model's been trained with. And through the concept of having access to those two data volumes, it generates more customized output. And so that's really been a game changer for some organizations. Like, for example, if you have an employee handbook in your business, none of us take the time to read it as much as we should, right? But you can definitely grab that handbook, and using something called RAG, you can work with an AI model to have it ingest that employee handbook. And then your users or your employees could ask questions about that employee handbook and get an output. And that's the main difference between the first column of the first row and the second row. Now, where it gets really interesting is the concept of AI agents, right? And agentic AI. AI agent is basically you now giving the AI a prompt. I want you to create an Excel spreadsheet. I want you to search the web and then create a financial report for me. The AI then has tools, right? So if you look at the model here, this AI agent has a way to converse with you through chat. So you can connect to it via WhatsApp, via keyboard, via dictation. It has a database of information that might be relevant to what it needs to do. It has the ability to plan out what it needs to do, which is important. It has memory, so it can basically remember what it's done. Has tools, and it has the AI intelligence to basically reason and then give you an output. So an example that I can share with you is 2 years ago, we wanted to solve our ticket automation. And so as an IT provider, you can imagine we get hundreds of tickets every day with or service requests of issues that need to be resolved. My printer's slow. The internet isn't working. Outlook won't open. And so typically what we would do is we would have a full-time service coordinator at our office reviewing each request and then identifying, is this critical, urgent, does it have to go, is it an on-site request, how do we categorize a ticket? Is this a ticket related to the internet? Is it a ticket related to a computer? Is it a ticket related to maybe Outlook? And so that whole process might take about 3 or 4 minutes per ticket. But what we ended up doing is we basically built an AI agent that had access to our database of issues, categories that we use in our business. It had memory to remember what tickets it had already processed. It had tools to access our ticketing system to be able to update it. And so in the end, what we ended up doing is we had an AI agent be able to triage a ticket within seconds or milliseconds, where a client would email us and then the AI agent would quickly read the ticket and basically determine that it's a network issue related to a printer, update the ticket in real time, and then actually assign it to a technician. And that's the whole goal of using AI agents in the workplace to do the work. Is you're basically, it's like a person, right? Like if you were to hire someone to do this, they would need a computer, they would need access to your ERP system. They would have to be trained. They would have to remember, what they got trained on. And that's really the whole concept with taking AI from, I'm just asking it a question, to like, how do I get it to do the work? And then I think the last part here is the agentic AI part, which is how do I get two AIs to work with each other? And that's really when the magic happens. In that example that I was sharing where we were triaging tickets in real time, we ended up having to build more AI agents. And we had one AI agent that would actually reply to the customer. We had another AI agent that would do scheduling. And so the AI agents would work with one another to basically triage a ticket. And then overall, it helped us improve our customer service experience. Rocio, I just wanted to pause for a quick second, see if is there any questions or we should continue.
Yeah, I know. I have a generic question for people who are like myself, who are not, familiar with AI products, and maybe for people who may have no experience, with AI. So what software or what program can someone like us normies, use to build an AI bot?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the best tool right now, and I know there's a lot of them out there, for me is Claude from Anthropic. I think from a business case, I think they have the best ROI for what you're able to do. And from there, there's like just a lot of them online. I think maybe I can probably share a list of them. But I think the concept here is understanding that this is a thing, and understanding this here, it's like when you're working with AI, what bucket do you fall into? Are you still like prompting it and just getting an answer and using it like Google, or are you actually having AI do the work? And once you understand, like, hey, I'm really just using it like a Google on steroids, then I think that opens up your mind to be like, okay, how would I get AI to like triage my tickets? And that's the question I asked myself, right, 2 years ago. Like, there has to be a way to do this. And I kind of started exploring in my own way. I used a tool called N8N at that time to build that out. Looking at it now, I would have built it differently. But when you start asking the question, like, how can I have AI do it? You're able to then ask the question to other people, or post it in your user group, or ask if other people are doing it. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too, was kind of creating an AI committee within your businesses.
Yes, and actually we have a question from Maria. Can I build it to build bids for construction?
Yes, I could probably demo that at the end of this. Yeah. And that's a great question. It's like anything that you see in your business that's a repetitive task, you have to basically say, can AI do this? And the answer most of the time is yes. If you're ever exporting information out of a system to do something with it, that's a good opportunity for AI to come in and help out. And so examples, like if you have an e-com store and you're always exporting out a report, and then you're doing something with that report and then sending it to a few people, or sending order confirmations off a report manually for whatever reason, those repetitive tasks of exporting data or just doing the same thing over and over again, that is perfect for AI to come in and do that work. If you're generating bids and they're the same all the time, pretty sure AI can basically look at your existing bids and basically enhance them, and also help you create a template for future bids. And I can probably show you that here at the end of this. Great
Oh, we have
question.
another question from Roberto. What about timesheets for my company? I do HR.
Yeah, timesheets. I think what we'll do is we'll jump into Excel in AI in a bit, and I'll show you how to do timesheets. It's not a problem. I mean, even like for me, like one of the things I was working on, not saying that this is an advanced use of it, but I built a billing reconciliation portal where we have to reconcile licenses from clients against our vendors, against our invoices, and it's maybe about 10 days worth of work. I got it down to about a couple hours now, and that's by me creating my own billing portal using AI to basically integrate with all my different systems, and having AI create the scripts that I need to reconcile everything within a few minutes, basically. Any other questions so far?
Nope, I think that's it. I think they're excited and want to know how to use it.
How to use it. So I got like 2 more slides, I think, and then we'll dive into that, because I think that's where most of the fun will be. So my biggest thing for me is AI is here to be an enabler for your business, right? But it needs domain expertise. And what does that mean? It's like having a really, really smart person with a high IQ come into your business or into your life, but just doesn't understand exactly your business or your model, right? Or how you function, or what makes you special, what your secret sauce is for your business. But once it understands that, then you're in the situation where you're working alongside of AI to get the work done. And so AI basically becomes an enabler, a force multiplier for those domain experts. And really what I mean by that is, I'll use myself as an example. We have a lot of IT projects that we do. So we set up networks, we set up wireless networks, we sell computers, servers, you name it, we do it. We have to order a ton of equipment, and the equipment comes into our office. I had a few key people in my office that knew how the process ran, but it was in our ERP system, and It was very, very complicated. They clicked here, they clicked there, they created a PO, they submit the PO, they go to the vendor, they get the invoice number, the stuff comes in, we label it, we receive it. And it's like maybe like a 20-step process. And so those two key people ended up leaving the company last year. And so I hired two new key people in our company. And they were just completely lost with the procurement process. And they're like, let's just go back to Excel. Like, we just need to order the stuff. Projects were getting delayed. Stuff would come into the office and would just sit here for a day or two. And I'm just like, I got to solve this, right? But I was the domain expert. Like, I was the expert in procurement because I knew exactly how my company works. I knew how the procurement process worked. And so I used AI to help me build an application for it, where now you log into a procurement portal, you basically create a PO, you upload the quote from the client, and it basically allows you to track the procurement process from start to finish. I integrated it with FedEx. I integrated it with different vendors to pull in the invoice number automatically, pull in the tracking information, click a button. But the only reason I was able to create that is because, I'm an expert in that function or that role. And so as you look at AI and you look at your team and your employees, you have subject matter experts that are very focused in your business. And those are the people that can really leverage AI to either build something amazing or identify where AI could be used. And I think this is the most important piece of my presentation is, AI is never going to replace the knowledge. It's really an enabler for those people that are really smart or know that specific function in the company. And to do this, what I usually recommend and where I've had a lot of success with the clients that we work with, where we're helping them adopt AI, is starting an AI committee. And so it's really, really a simple concept, even if it's one or two people in your company, but basically sitting down weekly and identifying where AI could be used, and also starting to use AI and sharing with each other how you're using AI. In our own company, we have a weekly meeting on Friday where we basically talk about AI. And I'll share what I've done that also inspires someone else to be like, oh, I didn't think about doing that in finance. And they'll basically then do something similar. One of my other engineers is big on security. So he's brought in some concerns about like AI and security. And I'm like, that's really smart. I need to basically adopt some of those concepts in some of the work that I'm doing. And so creating the AI committee, I think, is one of those important things that you can really take a lot from, because you'll find where those repetitive tasks are in the business.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then before we move on, we have a question from Chris Cepeda. Do you have a preferred automation platform? Power Automate, N8N, Zapier, Make, etc.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably give you a pretty stream answer here. I think the way that I see Power Automate from Microsoft and Power Apps, those are Microsoft products, by the way, and they're amazing, low code, no code solutions. People have built some amazing applications with that. But what you're able to do now with Cloud Code, or even a website called Lovable, it's amazing. Like, you can basically build full-on applications that are more than just integrations. When I built the service desk ticketing system that I was talking about earlier in this call, I built that on N8N. And so N8N is still a very powerful tool for integrations. But all my integrations now, they're all custom made using Cloud Code. And so basically what I've done is I built applications using agentic tools like Cloud Code to do my integrations for me. And so I'm no longer necessarily leveraging Zapier or using Make or using N8N. And that's, I think, the other thing that's I've seen a lot more of now is people are kind of moving away from those integrations. Now, those integrations are still great for people that are like, okay, I understand that I can integrate systems. But as you start diving deeper into using AI tools, you realize, like, I can probably make this better on my own. And that was the case for me.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Ivan, can you simplify integrations? Like, what does that mean? Coming from someone like myself who's like, okay, I'm gonna use cloud. Like, how do I integrate that with with the stuff I use with my
Yeah.
Outlook, Microsoft?
So like I think what it would be is when you look at all the applications that you use, and I think this is why the AI committee is important, right? Because in the AI committee, you're going to identify those repetitive tasks or you're exporting data. So like if there's something you're exporting daily, weekly, or a report that you're sending out, that can be an integration of some sort. I'll give you another example for our business. Every time we have a service request, the technician receives a ticket, and then they basically have to do a time entry. So they have to put what they resolved. I fixed the computer, I called the client, I reinstalled Outlook, client was happy, leaving the site. And so as you know, not all technicians have amazing grammar. And so one of the things that we had to do was like go in there sometimes QC all these time entries. So when you have a team of 20 technicians, it's a lot of time entries to go through. And so we built an integration where we had an AI agent basically pull the time entries every 30 minutes from our ticketing system. And then we would use AI to basically do a grammar check and then fix and punctuate and put commas and capital letters and periods at the end of each sentence, and then rewrite it back into the ticketing system. And so that's kind of a simple example of there's a repetitive process that sometimes didn't get done. It's client facing where we had to show these time entries to the client because we have to invoice them. And now, we don't have to do that anymore because it's automatically being done. That's one integration, right? Another integration that you can probably do if you're in sales is if you're recording your meetings, you could probably have an AI agent or some sort of Zapier or N8N read the recordings using AI and then maybe populate your to-do list inside of HubSpot or inside of Outlook, wherever that may be. And I've also seen other integrations where there's a company that makes handwritten note cards. I don't know if you've heard of them, but basically they use little robots and it handwrites letters and they look very, very personalized and unique. And so there's people that have basically built in those workflows into their email marketing where they'll basically like send 2-3 emails. And then the next contact is basically a postcard that gets automatically sent out through this automation. And so integrations exist everywhere, but it's just trying to understand. I think it's almost tapping into those like creative part of your brain of like, if this can do that and connect to that, how cool would that be? How do I make it happen?
Totally. And then we have a comment from Maria. I would be the only AI committee in my company, and I'm barely getting used to ChatGPT. Don't worry, Maria. That's. I feel like that's a majority of us. But it's good that you're listening and tuned in because Ivan, honestly, like he walked me down cloud a couple of weeks ago, and it was brand new to me. So I was just amazed. I was like, wow, I didn't even know about this. So I feel like majority of us are on that same boat.
So let me just dive into the demo. I think just kind of playing with Claude. Again, you can use other AI tools. I have a big bias towards Anthropic and Claude right now because I've used them all. I've used Grok, I use Gemini, I've used Copilot from Microsoft, I use ChatGPT, and Claude has just given me the best bang or best return on my investment as far as time use and what I'm able to do with it. So let me get out of here and let's go into Excel. And I'll zoom in here. I'll zoom in here in a second, okay? All right. So this is just a P&L for a company called Brew and Build. So this company basically builds coffee shops. It's kind of a messy P&L, but what I want to show you here is how to bring AI into an Excel spreadsheet. And so for this demonstration, I'm basically using Claude in Excel. And it's a plugin that you can basically add on by going to add-ins, going to add-ins, and then you select Claude from the list of add-ons. You do have to have a paid subscription. It's not that much. I think it's about $20 a month. But once you get it installed and configured, what it allows you to do is basically launch Claude on the right side of the screen. And so in this example,
can you zoom in a little bit more? It's a little blurry, just so people could follow along.
On the right side?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Let me try something, okay? Okay, the screen share should have gone away, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me fix something here.
But yeah, I was amazed last week when you were showing me that you could do a profit and loss statement and, put in your sales goals, your marketing goals, and tell it, what you expect. Because, a lot of us rely on other people to build this for us or to have it ready. Like, majority of us are doing our taxes. And we need accountants, we need all of that stuff, but the information we give to our accountants, if it's not correct or organized, it drives them nuts. So being able to use AI systems like this really help out.
So I agree 100%. So can you see my screen better now?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So basically what I did here is I opened up, I'll just type it out so you guys can see it better. So I have a P&L, right? And this might be like, hey, my accountant just sent this to me, or maybe my intern just created this for me because, they're helping me with finance. And now you're like, well, I don't know accounting that well. I kind of understand it, but, is this even correct? Is there any mistakes in here, right? And so what I can do is basically, I just wrote some prompts in here for myself so I can remember how to type them out. But what I can do here is basically have it analyze. Oh, here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically copy this sentence here, which is analyze this P&L and identify the top 3 cost drivers and create a summary tab and flag for any anomalies, okay? So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to just paste it here. It'll be easier than me trying to type that. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to hit send. And so what's going to happen now is the AI is going to basically try to understand what I have on Excel. And as you can see, it's the first thing it's doing. I'm starting to read this P&L to understand the structure and numbers. It's thinking, it's going to inspect it. And we'll just let it do its magic. But if you notice at the bottom, it's basically already detecting issues with the spreadsheet and inconsistencies. And if you look here at the bottom here in a second, it's going to build out a second tab because that was one of my requests, to build a summary tab with the analysis of the top cost drivers and flag any anomalies in the spreadsheet. While it's doing that, let me actually scroll up so you can kind of see everything that I did. So duplicate line items. Subcontractor labor, row 18, and labor cost, row 19 have identical values every month. This is almost certainly double counted, inflating cost of goods. Next item, meals and entertainment, row 37, meals and entertainment, row 38, same category, listed twice with different amounts. And that's probably done. Sorry, let me go to it. That's probably down here, meals. So there's 2 of them. And so if you notice, it already created a second tab for me. And this is AI basically recreating the spreadsheet for me, and also giving me analysis of each item. And so I zoomed in a little bit too much on here, and I'll zoom out here in a second so you can kind of see the full screen. But basically, like, it's the same concept of having a conversation with ChatGPT, except that you're bringing it in right into the Excel spreadsheet. And it can basically work with the Excel spreadsheets that you have in your system. And so I'm going to close this out here for a second so we can kind of look at the spreadsheet. So let me zoom out. And this is basically what the AI model just created. So it basically recreated my P&L. It just didn't.
And this is the Excel sheet it just created from that prompt you made.
Yes. So this was the original one that I created, which is like a fictitious company. I made it messy on purpose. I added the same category twice, and I basically asked it. If you look at the prompt, it was very simple. It was analyze this P&L, identify the top 3 cost drivers, create a clean summary tab, and flag any anomalies. Okay. And so with that prompt, it basically read it, analyzed everything, and it created the second sheet here for me. And so like basically what it's telling me is like my 3 cost drivers is 1, subcontractor labor, 2, payroll, 3, materials and supplies. And then it also flagged a few things that aren't right. So the first one is critical March net profit formula skips cost of goods. So it was basically able to determine that the formula that was created in this sheet didn't include the cost of goods to basically factor or calculate my net profit. It detected that there were duplicate costs of goods for the subcontractors and labor costs. It detected that was a duplicate OPEX, meals and entertainment. And so what's happening behind the scenes is the following. Anthropic, who makes Claude, has built a financial model or a financial large language model. All the top accounting offices around the world are using it, including Deloitte. Deloitte is actually exclusively working with Anthropic to basically license and use their models for all their AI projects that they're doing on, big projects. And so you basically have the financial intelligence of a top CEO, top CFO at your fingertips, and it's only going to be as good as you can prompt it. But like the fact that it was able to look at a spreadsheet, look at all the formulas, calculate everything, and identify that there's issues with the spreadsheet, break everything down for me, and then tell me how it impacts or where the issue was. This is typically like a real world scenario, right? You give your junior person a task to create a spreadsheet for you or to create a report for you. And then you have to review it. The numbers may be wrong and you make wrong decisions in the company. But when you're using AI for it, it now has the ability to look at this for you. Any questions on this? And I think what I'll share about this too right now is this alone, using Claude and Excel, has been a game changer for our clients because we'll show them how this works. And then basically they immediately make the connections between where this could fit in their business, or they'll start reviewing their existing spreadsheets, or they'll start creating new spreadsheets. The other thing I was going to point out too is like everything in here has a formula as well. AI created all this.
I have a question for people who are just beginning. Is there a place, or can you just Google, what prompts to use? Because maybe some people may not be familiar. AI, you are supposed to prompt it and tell it what you want because it's a robot. So is it like, is there any like prompts or general prompts for people who may not be familiar with prompts?
Yeah. So what I would say is if we go back to this concept here, right? I think really like the rite of passage is like understanding generative AI really well, which is really like prompt engineering. And so if you're just starting out, it's okay, right? It's knowing that AI can do all this stuff, but then starting to work with AI every day. And that's one of the things that I coach and tell individuals, even my own team. And this is exactly what I tell my team. Like when you come to work, I want 3 applications open. I want Outlook open because we use that for client communication. I want Microsoft Teams open because we use that for internal communication and for our phone. And 3, I want Claude open because that's what we use for business intelligence here. And so it's really the concept of using AI. Now, when you first start using it, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to be like, it doesn't work for me. It sucks. It's not the answer that I wanted. And just think about it like playing an instrument. And I think I shared this with you, Rocio. When you pick a guitar for the first time or you get on the keyboard for the first time, you're going to suck at it. No one's going to be good day one. And eventually, if you stick with it and use it every day, that guitar or that piano, whatever, or those drums, you'll be able to, eventually, hopefully compose some music or play something, right? Your favorite song. And that's exactly how AI is. It's more about an experience that you embark on, using it, asking it questions, getting a response, knowing what its limitations are, when you can and shouldn't use it. And so as far as like prompting, I think what I would suggest is going to YouTube and Googling how to prompt AI, good prompting, and just use the word prompt and AI and just watch a couple videos on that. And what you'll find out is it's all about context. If you just tell it like analyze the spreadsheet, enter, you're not going to get something what I just described. You have to pretend like you're talking to an employee. And I think that actually brings up another good point. Those of you that are business owners or leaders or manage a team, you already have the skills embedded in you to use AI. Because using AI is all about giving it direction, giving it context. Like as an owner of my own company, when I have someone starting in my office, I don't just tell them go on site and fix the issue. It's like I understand that they're new, and I say, okay, look, you're going to go to this client site. Parking is in the front of the building. You're going to meet with the desk, with the lady at the front of the desk. Her name is Sage Rocio. She's then going to give you keys to the server room. Here's a couple pictures of where the IT closet's at, and I need you to do X, Y, Z. That's the same thing that I would tell AI when I'm building out any application. I'm treating it like a very smart person, but it's all about context. What context do you give it? And that's the thing. The biggest thing is if you look at it like a person and you use your leadership skills, you'll get more out of it than just go fix the issue. Then you're upset why the person didn't do the job because you didn't tell them any information about it.
100%. It's all about, processes. And you made a really good point about having someone, bringing on, onboarding someone and not having a procedure written out because, as people get lost in the sauce, especially, the first couple of days, they're already anxious as it is, and not being able to have direction on what to do, even having a process, like step by step of how to use this if someone's using systems. But we have I think two comments, I believe. Maria Rivera, is there a training for this?
So there is not necessarily a specific training for this. So Anthropic is the company that made Claude. They do have free training online. A lot of the stuff that I've learned has been following people on YouTube that I could probably share with Rocio and share with you guys. But it's like if you like what you just saw with this, the keyword in YouTube is Claude Excel and search, and then or how to use Claude in Excel search, and you'll start learning how to do these things. But there's no like this is so new, and this is why we created this webinar, is to kind of start educating and sharing with people, what's possible with AI now, and this is how we're using it. Honestly, like when I share this concept with clients, they're just amazed of like, oh my God, you can do this in Excel now, and it just transforms their business. But after you kind of understand it, it's like, okay, let's play with it. Like for example, someone asked me about a timesheet. I didn't get a lot of context about it, but I can say, create me a timesheet for this cafe company. I will have 3 shifts from 6 a.m. to say 11:30 p.m. So this is just another quick prompt. It's going to ask me some clarifying questions because I probably didn't give it enough information, which is great. Let's see what it asks me. What time period should this timesheet cover? Let's do weekly. You mentioned 3 shifts. 3 shifts covering 6 a.m. to 11:30. 3 shifts starting at 6 a.m. Or let's just go with the first option. What info do you need to track per employee? Let's just do hour, pay, and tips. There we go. And so what you're going to see really quickly is you're probably going to see another sheet created, or you're going to just see it just create the spreadsheet for you. Now, if you already had a spreadsheet that was your timesheet, you're like, hey, enhance this because now we need to track tips. It can basically do the same thing. And what I'm showing you guys here now is just like a small little thing of like using AI. And again, where I'm going with this is I'm no longer going to ChatGPT and asking it to create me a timesheet. I'm basically directing the AI to do the work on my computer so I can just basically move on to something else. So usually what I would do during this time is I'll go check my emails while it does its work. I come back, okay, it's done, and we go from there.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Maria, I'm not sure where you're located. We are going to have a workshop, right, Ivan?
Yes.
So that's going to be our in-person workshop. We don't have a date, and actually I'm going to put out a survey, and I'm actually very thrilled and happy. Thank you so much for everybody that, joined us in the beginning and dropped the questions and comments. I am actually beyond surprised, the amount of participation we're having, which is really good. And that's why we decided to do a workshop because, it's hard, if you're new to this, just like myself, it's something that's hard to grasp things, and no better way than to have the actual man himself, Ivan, direct us and show us. And his goal is to make sure that you guys are in flow process, profitable in your business. So, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a survey after this live to see, what location. But just so you guys know, we are thinking in the Santa Fe, Whittier area, because that seems to be one of the concentration places. And this is open to anybody who wants to learn. So you don't have to be part of a construction firm or a staffing firm or whatever. It's anyone who wants to learn more about AI.
Awesome. No, I'm very excited about that. And like in that workshop, I want to make it interactive. So, we want people to bring their laptops if they're open to it, and play with Claude before then. Now, I think we still got like 10 minutes, right, Rocio?
Yes.
Okay. So, look, this is that prompt that I created, right? You guys saw me type that in. Wait, no, not that one. Okay, create me a timesheet for this cafe company. I will have 3 shifts from 6 a.m. to 11:30. I didn't put p.m. And then it asked me some clarifying questions, right? If you're watching the screen, it actually made a mistake and it said, hey, I need to fix something. And that's the awesome part of using AI agents is that its ability to fix and catch errors and fix them. But if you look at the spreadsheet it created, I mean, if you were to ask someone in your office to create a spreadsheet for you, like this is already good to go. If we type in, let's see, employee name here, Ivan, there's already a drop-down menu, I think, for the rows. Barista. The date formula, so I guess that's going to be based on the starting week. So let's just do 4/1/2026. All right, good. Shift, morning, what time they clocked in. So again, like this is just an example of using AI to create a timesheet for you. I know someone had a question about that, and I hope you were amazed by it.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, like it's And these are real issues that you have. Like, how many restaurant owners are there that have to try to figure this out, or people starting a business, they don't understand like finances as well as they should be. You basically have like the smartest AI model at your fingertips, and it's just asking it the right questions. And the only way to do that is by trying to use it every day. So if you have like a spreadsheet you have to create, or a report you have to review, or if you have to like convert this into a report to send to your CPA, you can just continue the journey with Claude and asking it those questions. Now, I guess I'm really biased to Claude right now because it's right now the only one that's really doing this at this level. Not even Microsoft is here yet. Eventually, all the other ones are going to catch up, but right now it's basically leading the charge in that. Now, let me move on to a different demo here. This one is called Cowork. So, got a lot of stuff on my screen. So, in this example here, let's see if you guys can follow me with this, because I actually had AI just create these for me right before the call. So we got 3 spreadsheets, okay? We got this one that has, it looks like an expense category. So, construction companies have expenses. This is relatable so far for everyone, right? Date, time, okay, great. We got, let me close this example out too. Don't save this. Okay, we got labor hours. So this is, I guess, labor hours for, let's just say, a construction company, or that construction company we worked at and where they were located at. Okay, very simple. And then we got a vendor spend. So what is this? This is basically vendor name, date, invoice. Okay, this is what we spent with different vendors. So I got 3 spreadsheets. This could have been 3 different spreadsheets from 3 different systems, or from one system. Maybe you exported this from QuickBooks. And so what I'm going to ask it now is this question here. And so, Maria, actually, one thing that you can also do is you can use AI to create your prompts. So you can basically go to ChatGPT and say, hey, how would I rewrite this prompt? This is what I want. Give me a prompt that I can use in Claude for Excel to compute this information. Or you can also ask ChatGPT, like, hey, ask me questions about this that I'm trying to do until you understand what I'm trying to do, and it'll create the prompt for you. So in this example here, I had to create a prompt for me. So I said, hey, AI, I'm doing a demo. Give me a prompt so I can kind of show you off, right? So here's a prompt. I have 3 Excel files from a client on my desktop, a small construction company called Brew and Build. Each file came from different systems, and none of them match each other. The files are, it's a vendor spend, expense categories, and labor hours. Before you do anything, read all 3 files and tell me what inconsistencies or problems you see. What needs to be fixed before they can be merged, and what is your plan? Once I approve them, normalize all the headers and date formats, standardize category and project names across all 3 files, flag any duplicates, missing data, or charges that look suspicious, merge everything into one clean master spreadsheet, and build an executive dashboard tab showing total spend by project, by category, and save the final output as a master spreadsheet. So this is a lot of stuff, right? We'll see if this can do it in 10 minutes or less. So I'm going to go into something called Cowork. And so Cowork is another product from Claude. Cowork basically is, let me get this started, okay? So I'm going to paste what I just read. Cowork is bringing AI to your computer. And what I mean by that is, when you go to ChatGPT, you're going to chatgpt.com. When you're using Claude in the internet, you're going to Claude in the internet, and you're asking a question and getting answers. Just the same way that we brought Claude into an Excel spreadsheet on my document on my computer, we're doing the same thing, but now we're basically bringing Claude into a specific folder. So if you caught the beginning of this, it basically has access to a specific folder on my computer, which is called demo, example 2. So I gave it access to this folder, example 2, and here are those 3 spreadsheets we reviewed, right? And so now it's basically reading those files. So it says, I'll start by reading all 3 files right away so I can get a clear picture before touching anything. So it basically says the CSVs are in example 2. Let me read the 3 of them now. It read all the files. It basically said the most problematic structural issue. The file is actually 2 separate exports stacked on top of each other with different headers. So basically it's identifying inconsistencies in this report that we got. It identified duplicate roles, missing amounts, inconsistent date formats, possible same vendor, different names, catch-all code. It's basically a mess of a spreadsheet, and that was on purpose. I actually told Claude, create me like 3 messed up spreadsheets, and let's try to see what you can do, right? And so right now it's basically analyzing everything, and it has a plan. It's going to basically, step 1, vendor spend. It's going to split the 2 stack sections. It's going to basically categorize in step 2. It's going to do something in step 3 regarding the labor hours. I'm going kind of fast here just so we can kind of get to it. And I'm going to say, yes, amazing plan. Let's move forward. Okay, so what I'm doing here now is, again, I'm using AI on my computer, interacting with the files on my computer. It can actually make folders as well. While it's doing this, an example that I can share with everyone is, I had a client reach out to me and ask me if we can itemize our invoice across 30 properties. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And so typically I would give that to my accounting team and say, hey, like, just divide each line item on the invoice across 30 and generate 30 invoices and then send it out. It's going to take them a couple hours to do that. But what I did instead is I used Claude Code and Claude Excel to basically put everything in a folder. And I asked Claude to basically itemize the invoices across 30 properties. I gave it a list of what those 30 properties were. And I basically just said, go for it. And then it itemized and created 30 invoices for me. And I looked at each Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, oh, this is great. Now I'm like, and that alone was like time, saved me a lot of time. And then from there, I was like, okay, well, I got to get these into QuickBooks. Can I import these into QuickBooks Online? I asked Claude, I said, yeah, you can. You just need to find the template. So I went into QuickBooks Online, downloaded the import invoice template. And I said, here's your template. Now I want you to basically recreate those 30 invoices in the QuickBooks template so I could upload them into QuickBooks. A few seconds later, I had a new set of 30 invoices that were perfectly set up to be imported into QuickBooks. And then from there, sent those invoices to my finance person, say, hey, just import these into QuickBooks and send them out to the client. Took her like 3 minutes to import everything versus 3-4 hours of like doing all this work. So this one might take a little bit longer for it to complete, but basically it's working through its plan to basically give me that master spreadsheet that I requested. And if we have time, it'd be awesome to see what it builds if you guys want to stay on. But yeah, I mean, that's what I got so far, Rocio.
A lot of information.
I know. We're just scratching the surface here. What you can do now. But I think for me, it's, we'll see if this finishes before we wrap up here. I think for me, it's really it's really like looking at your business and seeing, okay, like where in finance and accounting, like, are we pulling data? Where are we reconciling reports? Where are we waiting on stuff? Where are our bottlenecks? And kind of like looking at that and then moving on to operations, right? Operations usually could be, if you run an e-com site, or like, let's say you're receiving quotes, right? And you want to basically say, okay, well, I need to quote these a little bit faster. how can I have AI basically compose those quotes for me? Sales and marketing, I think the biggest thing there is data enrichment. If you have a list of the leads in your business, you could use an AI agent to enrich the data. Maybe it can try to find person's favorite team or what college they attended to. And that allows you to be more relatable to that person you're trying to connect with. If you guys both went to the same school, for example. HR and admin, there's definitely ways to help with the onboarding process, whether it's creating forms, workflows. And so through the use of AI, you basically are able to exponentially get more out of your day. And that's what I'm doing in my office is like, I'm using AI to help me with the proposals. I'm having AI help me with reports, creating dashboards, and also still helping my team leverage it some more. And yeah, this one's a tough one for it. So we'll see what it's doing. I mean, like if you look at what it's doing, this is just amazing, right? Like standardizing details column to capture the extra context for each row type. For expenses, they'll show who submitted it. For labor, it'll show the hours and rate. And then it's moving on to like looking at the master table structure. I got about 28 rows of vendor spend. For some if formulas, I'll use full column references to make sure I'm capturing everything safely. It's creating a Python script, which is basically creating a script to basically analyze the spreadsheet. It's standardizing categories. And so it's basically like chugging away at this request, line by line, finalizing column widths. It's almost done. Now I'm ready to write a clean script. And okay, so I think it's almost done.
But yeah, Maria Rivera, thank you so much for sticking it out throughout this whole presentation. Your questions and comments were amazing. And also along with everybody that commented and questioned, you guys help out a lot because there might be viewers who are just watching and might be curious and might have the same question as you do. So anytime you guys drop a comment or a question, you guys do help out the audience, and we're always happy to answer it along the way. And Mr. Ivan, you definitely, I'm sure you're blowing everybody's mind with how much AI could do for you. And for those that didn't catch this live, you guys could also catch it on the replay. It is available both on YouTube and LinkedIn. And as I've been dropping it on my social media, we are going to have a workshop in person, and we want to make this available. We are located here in Southern California. We're probably thinking about the Santa Fe, Whittier area, and we encourage everybody to come who wants to learn more about AI processes, how to use it, how to implement it in your company. And right now, we're probably thinking about on the Friday around 10 a.m. And we're going to try to make the workshop maybe 2 to 3 hours. It just really depends on Mr. Ivan's time and what we plan and who can make it and so forth. But yeah, I just want to drop it out there for the future.
Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, this is probably going to take some time, so I think I gave it too much to do. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to stay, I'm okay to stay. Or if we're done, we can wrap up as well.
And then for the audience, Ivan, where can people reach out to you?
Yeah. So let me type my email here if you guys want to grab it. But my email is ifernandez@spnnetworks.com. As I mentioned, like what we're doing or the services we provide when it comes to AI is just learning how to adopt AI, having me or someone on my team be part of your AI committee if you want to start that in your organization, just to kind of do a little show and tell what's capable of being done with AI, but also participating weekly on those calls. And also, if you're like, hey, like we love what you can do, we just don't have the bandwidth for it, but we want these integrations. We do those as well. Or if you're like, hey, we want to build this application or this integration, that's the type of work that we're also doing. But my email is ifernandez@spnnetworks.com.
Awesome. And you could also, after this live, you could also drop a comment in the comments. That way people could have the direct email from your page.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, this might take a while, so I think maybe what I'll do is I'll try to put a link to it once it's done. So those that got to see the video would probably see the results. But yeah, it's still like going through a lot of stuff. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy man, and there's no better person than yourself to teach us on how to use AI processes and how to simplify our workflow. So, I'm super excited to have you on today, and more excited about doing our future in-person workshop. Be able to connect and help out people that want to implement the AI system.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be awesome. I think it'll be good to also get some ideas. So once we run those polls, it'll be good to see like what people want to see, kind of tailor it for those that want to come. So thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Ivan, and everybody that watched and stay tuned. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys, and have an amazing day.
Thank you.